What's that?
That's AJ.
Did you see that kid skiing the bumps?
Oh, you mean AJ?
Of all of the guys on the mountain, who's your favourite?
AJ, of course.
Who is this guy, AJ, anyway?
You don't know him? He lives in Perisher. He's a little kid and he's a really hot racer.
The biggest rock in the mountain, he wants to jump off. He just wants to jump off the biggest rock.
I just want to be like him when I grow up.
Hi, Frank.
Hey, good day, AJ. How you going, man?
Good, thanks.
Been doing good skiing lately?
Oh, yeah, it was okay.
Any good jumps?
Oh, yeah, there's a few out there.
Yes, just about everyone at Perisher knows Aaron Bear, or AJ. At around 4 feet, or 135 centimetres, this 10-year-old may be easily lost in the crowd, but on skis, he is outstanding.
When he was 18 months, I put him in a backpack and used to take him for rides down the hill then. At 2.5 years, I put him on my shoulders. At 3, he was skiing on his own, but I was running alongside of him. He wouldn't ride any lifts at all. By the time he was 4.5, he was skiing Mount Perisher behind me.
What's the part of the mountain that you like to ski the most?
The steepest part.
AJ, get that hand in front and work the ski. Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go!
AJ has been a member of the Perisher Smiggins Race Club since he was 7. Normally races aren't taken until they're 9, but AJ's ability was recognised early. He already has 1 national title under his belt.
Oh, I'd like to be a World Cup racer and race for Australia.
The Olympics?
Yep.
He didn't compete till he was 8. And when he was 8, he competed in the national championships and finished 5th in his first meet. By the time he was 9, he won the national under-11 national title. And he's gone along very well since then.
What about if AJ loses a race?
Yeah.
Are you disappointed?
No, it's just a buzz to see him race. It's a buzz to see him ski.
Already this youngster has attracted sponsorship to help his development. He has 4 different deals at the moment which provide him with most of his ski equipment. The future looks rosy, but no one is pushing him.
The best thing that I can give AJ is the fellowship for others and to think of his other man before himself, to shake the hand of the guy that beats him and commiserate with those that he beats. I think his attitude is good, and if he stays the way he is, I think he's got a good future as a ski racer.
So if you're ever at Perisher Smiggins and you're passed by a compact little dynamo flying down the steepest part of the mountain, wonder no more. It'll probably be AJ.
The 16th Winter Olympic Games is officially on.
The Winter Olympics in Albertville saw the final appearance of Australia's best ever downhill racer, Stephen Lee. After a decade at the highest level in the sport, the 30-year-old decided to retire. Ready to take over his mantle as our best racer is Zali Stegel, an 18-year-old from Manly. But amongst the men, few in the 18 to 20-year age group seem likely to go on to major international competition. According to Stephen Lee, it's our younger skiers that hold the promise.
The situation we're in right now, I'd say there's going to be a fair hole. You know, most of the kids who are 19, from sort of 19, 20 onwards have pretty much missed the boat. But this is the next group that we really have to look at. The 14, 15-year-olds, and in that area there's some real talent in there. So to work with them and help them develop is the most important thing right now.
Get to the gate, straight to the gate, edge quick, and get off as quick as you can.
Aaron Bear, or AJ as he's universally known, is one of a group of young racers making people sit up and take notice. For many years, Perisher Valley skiers have found it hard to ignore the tiny kid jumping off everything he could find. The biggest rock, the steepest slope, they were AJ's playground. At the same time, he was racing, the youngest skier to be admitted to the Perisher Race Club. And it didn't take long for him to show promise there.
When I was 8, my first race was the Australian Championships and I came 5th. Then when I was 9 the next year, which is under 11, I won it.
AJ is still jumping off everything it's possible to jump off, but racing remains his passion. For Stephen Lee, meeting AJ was a bit like looking back 15 years to a similar youngster growing up at Falls Creek.
I've heard lots of talk about the young kid from Perisher that jumps off everything and skis around at 100 miles an hour. So mostly it's been hearsay, but yesterday was actually one of the first times I've seen him ski in the freestyle slalom there, and he stands on them really well. He's very relaxed.
When you look at AJ, I mean, what do you see? Is there something of yourself in him?
Well, yesterday definitely it looked a bit like a chip on the old block.
At Perisher Valley, AJ is still training whenever he can. Under the supervision of Stephen Lee's former coach, Switzerland's Bruno Landolt, he's working alongside our Olympian, Zali Stegel.
Well, with AJ, he's a very talented skier, and you tell him something, you talk about technique, and he gets it right in his head, and he goes and off, he does it.
This was the first time our veteran downhiller had seen the youngster running gates. What he saw impressed him, but he still had a few pointers to offer.
So it feels like you're going a little bit longer. Yeah. But in actual fact you're doing the same length turn, but you're doing it a metre up the hill. Oh. So you have that extra metre distance if you make a mistake to save yourself. He's got a feel for it, there's no doubt about it. He's still got a lot of growing to do, and he's into the big fish tank now, so it's a long way for him to go. But I think we're looking at the future of Australian skiing there.
Now aged 15, AJ has stepped up into the junior ranks, skiing against 19-year-olds. And although at 150 centimetres, AJ is small in stature, he's already shown he can't be overlooked. In his first races, he had a 4th and a 5th to finish 3rd overall. This week, he's been racing at Mount Buller, trying to improve his ranking.
It's tough to go from rank to rank. You've got to improve your points every year. It's not easy. You just get them down gradually. He's done fairly well in the under 15s so far, but it's like I said, it's a whole new ball game from under 15s to Fizz. You're against the seniors now. There's no more talk of being little kids. So you've just got to adapt to that change, and I mean, his future will all depend on him.
To gain further experience, AJ is seeking admission to Austria's most prestigious racing school, Stams. The school has turned out some of Austria's best racers, and if he could gain entry, AJ would be the first Australian to be accepted. The big obstacle remains the $1,000 a month his parents have to raise to send him there.
Well, the school in Austria is really good. They have some really good coaches over there and a lot of good skiers. And what we do over there, you get up in the morning, go for a run, have your breakfast, and then you go out training for a couple of hours, come back, do your schoolwork, do a bit of, I think, fitness training, and then do some more schoolwork after that.
You have to get into that kind of atmosphere. The Europeans, without a doubt, dominate skiing in the world, and a lot of the Austrians come out of the Stamm school, which AJ's trying to get into, and it would be a huge bonus for him to get into that system.
Aaron Bear is a long way off following in the tracks of someone like Stephen Lee. But if he continues to progress at the rate he has so far, and if he's able to learn more about his craft in Austria, who knows what will happen. One thing is for certain, this is one kid who has a clear idea of what racing means to him.
Oh, well, it's everything. This is what I want to do for my life.
I think from the time he was 7, he started to show promise, and people started to realise that he did have potential, and so they took him into the race club early.
Aaron Bear, or AJ as he's known, has always looked like a promising racer. He was the youngest skier ever admitted to the Perisher Race Club. When Australia's best downhiller, Stephen Lee, first met him 2 years ago and watched him train, what he saw reminded him of himself 15 years earlier.
I've heard lots of talk about the young kid from Perisher that jumps off everything and skis around at 100 miles an hour. So mostly it's been hearsay, but yesterday was actually one of the first times I've seen him ski in the freestyle slalom there, and he stands on them really well. He's very relaxed.
Last year, AJ became the first Australian skier to be admitted to Stams, Austria's most prestigious academy for nurturing racing talent.
Well, it's a ski racing school where you do ski racing and you do schoolwork also. And it's a lot better. Like, you can go there for 10 months and it's about half the price of if I went away with say, a national team or a state team.
What about the level of competition in a school like that in Austria? Is it much different to that in here in Australia?
Yeah, a lot. There's the best in the world for my age group over there that I train with, and really good competition over there.
A month after AJ began his term at the academy, his aspirations suffered a major blow. Doctors discovered a tumour in his back.
This is a CAT scan through the lower thorax showing the mass lesion anterior and anterolateral to the spine. These are the lung fields, this is the heart, this is the aorta, the major artery of the body. This is another MR scan in the coronal plane, which shows the mass sitting right next to the spine, which is here, and just above the right kidney, that's the liver, and sort of just nestled into the right lung.
They wanted to operate straight away, and I'm glad they didn't, because my doctors here are saying that if they had have operated, I could have become paraplegic because when they take it off the spine.
After talking with his father, Perisher Valley jeweller Rod Bear, AJ decided to immediately come home for further medical assessment.
I think he was a bit peeved that they found it, because he didn't really have any pain. When he came home, I think he thought that they'd be able to put a needle in there and take it out and he could get straight on with his life, but it didn't work out that way.
Oh, I was just sort of not too happy about having to come back to Australia after all the work to get over there. But the tumour didn't really affect me, it didn't worry me at all. I sort of always knew that it was going to be okay.
What, even in the very early stages when they said, you know, we found this and it's on between your heart and your spine?
Yeah.
You still felt it was going to be okay?
Yeah, everyone was upset except me. Like, I sort of just went, oh, okay, bummer.
Back home in Jindabyne, AJ decided he would get on with his training while the doctors worked out what was going on in his back. After doing more CAT scans and taking a biopsy, he was told the tumour was not malignant. Further tests have shown it doesn't appear to be growing. AJ was given the all clear, but to some, like National Coaching Director Marty Hansen, it was almost as if nothing had interrupted the young skier's progress.
I had opportunity to train with him a little bit after he had his first diagnosis, and I was surprised how focused he remained. You know, with this type of distraction, I'm not sure that I would have remained that focused on my training.
Well, I think it's motivated me more than anything. I feel like I really want to get back there and do my best. Training, I've trained a lot more than I have ever. I'm fitter and stronger than I've ever been. And I guess more focused also.
And something else has happened to AJ in the past 8 months as well. Always small for his age, he suddenly sprouted, growing around 15 centimetres, adding a lot of muscle to the equation. AJ, in the past year you've grown an awful lot. What difference has it made to the amount of power that you now have?
Well, last year I was bench pressing about 70 pounds and now I'm about 150. Squat, I was doing about 150 pounds. Now I can do like 300, so it's about twice.
Do you think that's made much of a difference to your skiing?
Yeah, for sure. I feel a lot stronger this year.
At 17, AJ is now getting on with the rest of his life. His aim to become a World Cup racer remains his central theme, and every day he works at it.
His whole life, he's a full-time skier. His whole life is skiing, training, tuning, running, in the gym. That's his whole life. That's what he wants to do. That's what he wants to do for the rest of his life.
It appears AJ will now be able to resume his studies at the Stamms Academy in Austria, providing he can raise the $15,000 in fees required for the next year's tuition. He's hoping to do that through sponsorship. And after what he's been through, it almost seems like a minor hurdle.
Now, at the last Winter Olympics, Zali Steggall made history by becoming the first Australian skier to win a medal in Olympic competition. Another young Australian watched her race on television with mixed feelings. As a friend, AJ Bear was delighted to see Zali perform so well, but he also felt disappointment that he too was not representing his country in Nagano. After all, the young Perisher skier thought that he'd done everything needed for selection. Since then, he's been making a real charge, winning his first major race in Europe and competing on the prestigious World Cup circuit in the downhill event. He's talking now with Charles Stewart.
AJ, in terms of your career at the moment, how would you say it's going?
Well, it's going pretty well. I had a great season this year. I started racing World Cup and I lowered my world rankings considerably. The only disappointment this year was that I wasn't selected for the Olympics. Other than that, I had a great season.
Okay, now what about your world ranking? You talked about lowering it considerably. What did you do?
Well, I went away ranked 201st in Super G, and I came back now. I'm ranked 70th in the world, and I'm also ranked 7th for my age.
So, in terms of where you think that's taking you, how do you think that's setting you for the future?
Well, I'm 21 at the moment, and the average age of the top seed is 28, so I'm progressing quite nicely, and I guess I've got a few more years learning to do on the World Cup circuit. I've learned the courses in downhill, and I guess I think it's going pretty well.
World Cup, that's one of the goals of all ski racers. What was it like for you this year to race for the first time in World Cup?
Oh, it was great. Racing against people that I've been watching on TV over the years, but when I inspected the first downhill course, I pretty much myself. It was by far tougher and harder than anything I'd ever done before. There's like big jumps, 4 jumps over 50 metres, and it was pretty quick too. Like the average speed was 110 with I think a top of 140. So yeah, I was pretty nervous before my first run. But once I got down the first run, I did pretty well. In the second run, I started 82 and I finished 36, only 2.5 seconds out. So I was stoked with that. And then there was 2 races there. So the first race, I think I got a bit cocky and pushed it a bit hard and ended up in the nets. But then the second race, I skied down and came 42nd.
Now, in downhill, fear is always a factor. Now, you've experienced the harsh realities of downhill racing. What was that like for you?
Yeah, well, that wasn't a big crash. I had a bigger crash in my last World Cup race. But I haven't hurt myself yet too badly, touch wood. But yeah, I think it definitely makes a difference. I try not to think too much when I ski, especially in downhill. I think if you think too much about what you're doing, it slows you down. If you're confident and you just let yourself go, I think that's the fastest way to go.
What sort of speeds are you hitting in some of these downhill courses?
Well, the downhill courses are getting a lot more technical now. The top speeds are usually around 140 and then average around 110 sort of thing.
Now, 140 kilometres an hour on skis is pretty quick, isn't it?
It is, especially they've got this new injection system where they're injecting water and chemicals into the snow, so it's seriously like a ice skating rink, blue ice. It's unbelievably slick.
Now, as an Australian skier, you're facing all the same sorts of things that Stephen Lee faced before you, and Zali Steggall in her early years racing, and that is lack of support, lack of sponsorship, struggling. How are you finding all of that? Is that disheartening for you?
Yeah, it is tough, but I've had to rough it for quite a few years, and I think that's sort of made me, I guess, hungry. Like, I think if I had it too easy, I don't think I'd want it as much. But yeah, I'm looking for a manager at the moment to handle that side of things, and hopefully I'll be able to get some support now that I've got something to talk about.
Now, you had your first significant win in this season just gone by. Tell me about that.
I won my first FIS race. It was the Dutch Championships in Austria, and it was pretty top field. The guy behind me came 17th in the Olympics in that discipline. So yeah, again, I was really disappointed not going to the Olympics.
Did they look at you afterwards and say, who the hell's this kid from Australia?
Yeah, I guess I know most of the guys over there because I've been racing with them all my life. So most people heard about that and they congratulated me for a while, and yeah, I was pretty happy. It was the start of a good season.
Okay, AJ, well, where do you go from here with your career? What can you expect?
Can't expect too much in the next few years because I am still pretty young and inexperienced. I hope to progress sort of up the ranks in World Cup, get closer to the start, because unless you're in the first seed, you can't really make great results.
And the first seed is what, top 15?
In downhill, top 30, and yeah, in giant slalom, top 15. And yeah, the same as Zali, she had a few years where she was breaking through. Now she's in the top seed. I'm sure she's going to keep making great results.
How inspirational is it for you, seeing someone like Zali, who you know very well, break through and win the bronze medal in the Olympics and win World Cup races?
Yeah, it's great. I think it's great, especially that Australians see that we can do it. Like, we have just as good skiing here in Australia as anywhere in the world. So yeah, I think hopefully we get a lot more support into alpine skiing now.
Well, AJ, thank you very much and all the best for the future.
Thanks, Chuck.
Here's AJ Bear there, a fearless young man, 21 years of age, a prodigious talent and a great future ahead. Charles Stewart reporting.
Well, skiing's an outdoor sport. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, and most of it goes on right here in the waxing room. Filing, preparing the skis so they're sharp enough to hang onto those incredibly icy surfaces that they race on. AJ, how long do you spend each night here in the waxing room?
Usually 2 to 3 hours.
So it takes up a lot of energy, eh?
It does, it's pretty tough.
And keep going. These are all AJ's race skis, about 8 pairs of downhills and 3 or 4 pair of GS skis. Craig's putting some wax on, which is the final touches for making the ski fast. These guys are climbing up through the ranks, and when they get to the top 30, top 20, they've got this to look forward to. So in contrast, this is the German ski team we're in, as well as Zali's exclusive technician, Chris, fixing her race skis for tomorrow. Tell me, Chris, how much difference do you think it makes to a competitor to have full service from the factory and a good technician?
Yeah, big difference, you know, because the athletes don't have to worry about ski testing. They don't have to worry about checking snow conditions all the time, temperature, right wax to use, because ski companies will come to you and let you know.
So it makes all the difference for the competitor, because they're then allowed to do what they need to do and just concentrate on the race.